And we're back after a brief break. You're watching South Texas Crossfire with your host, Attorney Joe Flores. I have the distinct pleasure of bringing on a very good friend of mine and also a good friend of yours out there in the community. If you haven't met her, you soon will. And she's an elder advocate. She's also trying to get out the vote and also working with many politicians and also doing media. And that's none other than my good friend, Cinia Montoya. Welcome. How are you?
Fine. Thank you, Joe.
Well, let me ask you a couple of things. A lot of people who haven't met you, they may want to know about your training, your background, where you came from, and your family here in the community. Tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm Cinia Montoya from here in Corpus Christi, lifelong resident, graduated from Ray High School. And my family is...
Go Texans.
and Texans.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been involved with politics since I grew up in it with my family way back in the 70s and 80s when Solomon was first elected and Carlos Truan and then Erika Vasos and all the...
Your daddy just turned 75, right?
Yes,
Feliz
he did.
cumpleaños to your dad. Your dad's first name?
Simon Clarich.
Yeah, a lot of people know him. He's a good golfer too, right?
Yes.
Well, happy birthday, Mr. Clarich. So you have been really involved. Now, a lot of people say, look, you know, they say Democrats are just primarily minority or a certain ethnicity or a certain socioeconomic group. But you buck against that system and say what? Democrats come from all walks of life.
Democrats do come from all walks of life, but the main reason why I think I'm feeling so strongly about it now as I'm getting older is my kids are now voting. And this is my daughter's first year to vote, and you know, I'm really, really trying to make sure she understands. And she's like, "It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we vote or not." And I'm really trying to emphasize to her that being a female, also, she's going to be starting to want to get married one day and start a family of her own, and she doesn't realize the potential she has or the power she has being a woman, with how she's going to raise her children and why it's so important to get those values set in her now about being on a Democratic
That's
side.
what we were just talking about, you know, during the break, is that el vaso de la familia es la mujer. The base of the family is the woman, and she's the moral guiding compass. A lot of pressure on the woman to say, you know, you can be a bad dad and get away with it, but if you're a bad mom, oh Lord, I mean, they blame everything on the mom. So when you're out there knocking on doors and trying to get out the vote, what are you telling these females that you know 20% are voting, and maybe another 20 if we're lucky in a presidential, and then the rest aren't voting? So how are you getting people out the drive to get them to register to vote?
Well, first of all, that's something that we're working on with the Democratic Party that I'm trying to help Joseph Ramirez with, who just became the chairperson.
Yes.
And we're trying to do, you know, some voter registration drives before the deadline for the upcoming election in November. And as far as being on how we're trying to get females to vote, I'm trying to just pretty much get everyone to vote, but mostly on the Hispanic side. It kind of irritates me a little bit sometimes when there's Hispanics that are going to the Republican, and I don't know if they think it's a status type thing, but we're just trying to get everybody to go out to vote, whether you are Republican or Democrat, but we're trying to make sure that they understand the difference between being a Democrat and being a Republican.
Well, they've had the national convention, and you know, and Mr. Ryan coming out and saying, you know, that Obama was not for families, Obama was not for this and that. Basically, I saw him giving a lot of empty platitudes, a lot of empty promises to a lot of very nice, very respectable WASPs out there, and I thought it was a WASP convention, not a Republican convention. And really, it's a party of exclusion, is what I notice, is that only when they need the Hispanic vote, but they don't want them at their parties, they don't want them, you know, in their backyard, and it's true. You know, and I've seen that. It's a party of exclusion. But we have our own problems in the Democratic Party. My dysfunctional family, I love them to death. But I think Mr. Ramirez is trying to bring people together. He's trying, and that's what counts. You've got to keep trying. What are some of the measures that you're doing? Because a lot of people will say, well, wait a minute, Clarich, and you're saying that, you know, Republican this and that. Where's your loyalty? You should be on our side. You shouldn't be on the Democratic side, you know, because those people want a free lunch, a free handout, welfare. That's a perception. What's the reality?
Well, the reality is there are some flaws in some of the programs that are out there, but that's been for years. It's
There's
been
always
over the
gonna be
last
abuse.
30 years,
Right.
whether it's been under a Republican president or a Democratic president. So, but what I'm finding, and what's really got me going this time around, is the Republicans are fighting against the Democrats by distracting what the real issues are, and they're continually taking away the attention off of them and throwing it back on the Democrats as
Right.
if there's nothing wrong with their party. Like, their party is so perfect and we're just totally dysfunctional, and it's not the truth. And that's what is getting me going, that every party has their issues.
Right.
But I'm not happy that the Republican Party keeps veering off of what the real issues are, and then they keep throwing things back on. They're not even knowing how to fight. They're not even fighting what the real issues are.
Well, they don't do the issues. What they're doing is attacking or hitting, the issues. They're distracting, as you say. They will go and say Democrats this, Democrats that, but they're not offering any concrete solution.
Right. They're not offering any solutions, and they're not offering any real good argument. So it's going to be interesting to see how the debates are going to go with the upcoming elections. But I just can't believe that when you ask a question, they never answer the question. They keep going off to something else, and look what else you did wrong. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to bring them back to the real issues.
And one of those is there's a supermajority here in Texas. So teachers have gotten some very hard cuts, children, homeowners, and the family, have gotten some tremendous cuts, especially when you're talking about Head Start and other programs. So we've seen that the Republican-controlled legislature did that, and then they say, well, wait a minute, we had to cut somewhere. But they're not cutting other areas or raising taxes for corporations, right?
Right.
So out there, what are the Democrats here are like you. They're conservative. They're not flaming liberals, as you want to get labeled. So what's the plan to get out that vote? Are we going to have some events and other things that people can feel included on and attend?
We are. Joseph is trying to put some stuff together that we are going to be doing some, like I said, voter registration drives, and let them know, come early voting and all, if they need the rides, if they need, that kind of stuff, as far as we can go legally and ethically. But from what I understand, Joseph is putting some stuff together. I don't have any dates or exact locations of it, but we are going to be putting some events together.
Well, I know that you educate seniors on different insurance and Medicare and things like that, and provide seminars and things, and you offer information. But for people out there who are web savvy or on Android or on smartphone or Facebook, where do they go to go Facebook? We do have a Democratic page here.
We do have the Nueces County Democratic Party. There is a Facebook page that they can go to.
And they can friend that and find out the events.
Always.
And what about yourself? If there are some women out there, Latina or otherwise, that want to join your cause, get out the vote, and say, hey, I want to help also block walk and encourage people to register to vote, where can they contact you? What's the best way?
They can contact me on my cell phone, which is 461-4311, area code 361-461-4311, or they can find me on Facebook. It's Cinia Clarich Montoya, and it is Cinia Clarich Montoya.
And if you're going out there, like I always tell everybody, you've been knocking on doors. We got 100,000 doors we're knocking on right now. If people said, well, okay, yes, it's supper time, you came and knocked, we're 6 o'clock being broadcast, or 8 in the morning, we usually get broadcast. They'll say, yes, should I register to vote? And why should I vote Democrat? What does it matter?
My big focus is on getting registered to vote and then going out and implementing that. It's a wonderful privilege, but you have to understand your voice does matter. And when you go vote and you say, well, they don't listen to me anyway, a lot of times what I've found over the years is when you have a county commissioner or you have a city councilman or whatever it is you need help with, don't be too prideful to contact that person and ask that person for help. And that, I have found, has a lot to do with people saying they don't care about me anyway. I'm not even going to bother calling. It's not that they don't care. It's that you don't want to call. And sometimes you have to swallow your pride and ask for help with some areas.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has family issues. Everybody has stuff. And a lot of Hispanics have that pride that, well, I'm not, and then they say, well, they're not going to help me anyway. But it's within themselves. They're the ones not helping themselves. And we have to understand, as Hispanics, as a community, we have to unify ourselves and sometimes ask for help. And part of that is to go and vote.
Well, and I mean, I mean, let's, as you can see, you can speak with Anglos, you can speak with Hispanics, you kind of have that bicultural thing going, and so what do you say to those independents and some of the Republicans that say, well, I'm just going to vote straight ticket?
That's a good question. I really, really have to emphasize on that, to look at what the issues are. And do you really, really believe that just voting straight Republican ticket is the best thing for you and your family and for the community? Because you do have to consider the community when you're looking at your family.
Yeah, I don't think Medicare cuts are going to say, well, this is a Republican senior. I don't think that we're going to cut him that much since Romney won. It's going to be across the board. And so many people are attacking Obamacare, but rather, what's your view on Obamacare? You being a senior specialist and you help people with Medicare and supplement plans, what do you see Obamacare? Has it been a help, a hindrance? Do you see that impacting seniors in a negative way?
No, actually, I did my research on the Affordable Care Act, which I know everybody calls it Obamacare, but it's not. It's the Affordable Care Act, and the benefits have already helped so many people that they don't even realize that's part of the Affordable Care Act. The benefits that are there, whether it be to add your children up to the age of 26 or whatever those different benefits are, people are already feeling those benefits. When I go enroll a client into a Medicare Advantage plan and I say, these benefits are given to you, and they're like, well, how much is it going to cost me? It's at no cost. This is part of your program that's available. They're floored that they get all these benefits because they're on Medicare or Medicaid, and what they don't realize is a lot of that will be taken away.
Well, and if a senior has more information, I know the enrollment's coming up. If a senior wants you to come by their home, what's the number to call?
Area code 361-461-4311.
And that's 361-461-4311, 4311. And Diamond Dave's putting that up there. We're out of time, but I want to thank Cinia, Clarich, Montoya for coming by. She's trying to get out the vote, not just for women, but for everybody. And she is a staunch supporter of the Democratic Party and also senior rights. We want to thank her for coming by. Once again, 361-461-4311. If you have questions on the Affordable Care Act, Medicare, give her a call. This is the time to call. Upcoming is enrollment for that. It's so important. 461-4311. Call now. We're out of time. Diamond Dave's telling me that's it. So we want to thank our sponsors, River City Hospice, 882-5900, 882-5900. Call today to find out what hospice means. And Vasquez Flores Home Health, 881-9922. That's 881-9922. Start your exciting career in healthcare today as a provider. Work your way up in the ranks, or if not, stay right where you are. They need the help. The seniors out there, like Ms. Montoya is doing, she will get them the benefit, but then it's you guys who implement that care. So remember that. Call Cinia for all your Medicare questions, 461-4311. Thank you, and God bless.